South Carolina, of course, shook things up in the SEC last year when they demolished Tennessee and then
Mhm.
followed that up with a win against Clemson. They almost beat Notre Dame in the Gator Bowl. It appears overall to be a program that's on the rise. Shane Beamer's impressing a lot of people, but maybe this particular team has a lot of issues to work through. A North Carolina defense that hasn't been considered a physical, tough, stingy defense for a long, 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 long time, racked up 16 tackles for loss. You hardly ever see a number like that, and 9
19.
sacks
Yeah.
on Spencer Rattler, who otherwise seems to be throwing the ball well. But my goodness, if he's running for his life, that's not going to be a good formula for winning.
No, no doubt. I mean, the 9 sacks you mentioned, that's a huge concern for South Carolina. I mean, young offensive line, some guys that are playing for the first time, and you're matched up against the Georgia defense. That could be good news for Georgia. We'll see. But Spencer Rattler, when he has had time, I just based on his stats, I think he's playing better than he was, last year. Already completing 82, 83% of his passes. He's got a lot of good receivers. Some of those guys, fans may not really know yet, but big, physical, fast, and they know what to do when they get the ball in their hands. So Spencer Rattler, obviously the key for both teams in this one. I mean, for South Carolina to have any kind of a chance, he's got to be spot on, and for Georgia, you know, finding a way to contain him is going to be the key because so far, anyway, South Carolina's running game has been pretty non-existent so far.
Xavier Legette, in particular, with about 300 yards receiving in those first two
Mm-hmm.
games for South Carolina. When you look at these two teams, and more so the two uh, environments, the campuses, the schools, the fan bases, and everything, I know South Carolina gets up for this one. Well, of
Mm-hmm.
course, everybody gets up for somebody the status of Georgia. But how does Georgia view South Carolina? Are they just another SEC Eastern Division foe, or of course it's a neighboring state?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Georgia's going to be up for South Carolina. I mean, Coach Smart, I think the way they practice, they go about business. I don't think there's going to be any kind of question, about that. And it's kind of funny. I mean, one of big storylines, if you want to call it, one of their players back during media day was asked about the most hostile environments in the SEC, and he didn't mention Georgia. And somebody asked Coach Smart about that, and of course, Coach Smart's going to play it up and say, "Well, I guess he's calling out our fans." When actually he wasn't, but still, Coach Smart is going to look for any kind of edge he can get, and so I suspect, him bringing that to everybody's attention, you'll see Georgia's fan base pretty loud. I think come Saturday afternoon.
All right. Georgia close to a 4 touchdown favorite against South Carolina to open up the SEC. We got Anthony Dasher here from UGA Sports on Rivals. So check him out right there. One recent commit here in the last week or so, Chris Cole,
Yeah.
sixth rated linebacker in the country. Anthony, top rated player in the state of Virginia, another top 50 to 100 player racked up for the 2024 class.
Yeah, no doubt. Inside linebacker, very athletic, very rangy type guy, and Georgia, I think, has had a couple of spots to fill that inside linebacker spot for this upcoming season. He was one of the top targets, and I know they're very excited to have him. And from just according to what Chris had to tell us, he can't wait to get to Athens.
Anthony, we appreciate you being here. Enjoy the game, and that winning streak will probably extend to whatever it is. It goes back to 2019. Yeah, that South Carolina
Mm-hmm.
upset in Athens. So there we go. We're off and running in the SEC.
We are, and we'll. It gets fun after this. I mean, UAB next week for Georgia, and they go to Auburn for the first road game. So we'll see what this team is all about here very soon.
Yes, an early date against Auburn is interesting. Okay. Thanks, Anthony.
Yep.
Appreciate you
See
being here.